Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha Kodesh. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into Ezekiel, the 34th chapter, which is mainly dealing with the Lord commanding Ezekiel to prophesy against the, as you see in the headline, or the headline, you can just call it that, shepherds of Israel. All right, and in this chapter, it likens the so-called leaders, okay, or at least the ones that were supposed to be the heads watching over the flock. And the flock is a metaphorical representation of the children of Israel, okay, and it basically, the Lord pronounces judgment against them for their for them not being true shepherds and instead taking advantage of the sheep. Okay, so we're going to go into that, which this was something that was happening both back then throughout our history, all the way even up until now. Same thing over again. Now, this is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 34, verse 1. And the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, prophesy against the shepherds of Israel. Prophesy and say unto them, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh unto the shepherds, Woe be to the shepherds of Israel that do feed themselves. Should not the shepherds feed the flocks? And so, like I mentioned before, the shepherds here would be likened onto the leaders, right? So you have, as a matter of fact, let's get a quick precept in the book of Jeremiah. I think it's the 23rd chapter. There we go. Okay, this is good, but I think there's might be somewhere down here. Maybe I'll just word search it, but let me read this first. This is Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 1. Woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, saith the Lord. And when you look into that word pastor, it's pretty much like a teacher, or one that's really like supposed to take care of you, right? And inform you, teach you, and so on and so forth. Now, in this context, dealing with the sheep, the pastor, okay, would be one, as you're seeing here, to tend, to graze, to feed, to shepherd, right? Of a ruler or teacher. So the pastors or shepherds are the ones that are put in positions to be able to lead the people, guide them, direct them, and teach them. Okay. That's why the Lord set up, different people in different positions for that. Anyway, where are we here? Slack it 1 second. Okay. Anyway, as it says here, that scattered the sheep of my pasture, saith the Lord. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh of God, a power of Israel, against the pastors that feed my people. Ye have scattered my flock, and driven them away, and have not visited them. Behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doings, saith the Lord. So, what it means by that is, in a actual sense of a shepherd and a sheep, a shepherd is one that's supposed to watch the flock. You take them out of the sheepfold or the pen. You take them to go and graze, on the mountaintops where there's like good pasture, and they eat and so on. And you watch them. You make sure that nothing comes to harm them and that they're all in the flock, okay, and they're not straying away. But here, but a shepherd that's scattering the sheep, where one is running this way, one is running that way, he's not doing his job. The equivalent of that today is when you feed the sheep, that's likened onto like the teachers here, okay, that are supposed to be teaching and guiding the, Israel to follow the right path, right? To, stay in the right path, to stay away from the things that the Lord said don't do, okay, and to stay on the right course. So one example is when you read in the book of Kings, you'll see that you had different kings that came up to rule. And for the majority of them that came up, they were an example of people scattering the sheep, right? Because they were causing Israel to go in the way of idolatry, in the way of wickedness. Everybody was going each way that they thought was right, doing whatever they thought was right in their sight. Okay, and they all left from the truth, okay, the right way. Anyway, back in Ezekiel 34:2, what the Lord is saying here is telling Ezekiel to prophesy against them, right? Woe be unto the shepherds. Woe meaning, like destruction, evil times. Be to the shepherds of Israel that do feed themselves. Should not the shepherds feed the flocks, right? So when you have a shepherd, his job is to take the flock out to go and actually feed them. But it's saying here that they feed themselves. And it's going to explain to you how in this analogy, right? Ye eat the fat, and ye clothe you with the wool. Ye kill them that are fed, but ye feed not the flock. So this is like in the literal sense, they would find like a nice fat, sheep, and then they would kill it, eat it, use the wool to make, clothes and whatnot. As it says, ye kill them that are fed. That would be the fat looking ones, like the good looking cattle or the good looking sheep. It says, but ye feed not the flock. So basically you're taking advantage of them, to satisfy yourself, and you're disregarding their needs. And that's like today you have certain congregations where their leaders take advantage of them. The leaders don't give them the truth. They don't give them the proper understanding to where the followers can actually better themselves and follow the ways of the Lord, that it may be beneficial to them. Just like when you eat, the food is, if you eat the proper food, that is, it is going to be beneficial to your health and your overall well-being. Okay, but these people are basically starving out their followers by feeding them lies and just feel good. It's like you feeding your child candy and chocolate and milkshakes every day. Is that actually good for them? No. It may taste good, but is that actually good for them? No. And eventually they're going to develop health problems, and then they're going to be in a bad situation. So that's what they're doing today. And they take advantage of them. Majority is through money. A lot of these different groups, they whether Israelites, whether they know they're Israelites or whether they're like so-called pastors or whatever it is, a lot of them take advantage of their congregation. Okay? Instead of doing the actual job of a shepherd. And they were doing the same thing back then. The diseased have ye not strengthened, neither have ye healed that which was sick, neither have ye bound up that which was broken, neither have ye brought again that which was driven away, neither have ye sought that which was lost, but with force and with cruelty have ye ruled them. So imagine a shepherd who knows that amongst his flock you have some sheep that are not feeling well, that are diseased, right, that are sick, but doesn't do anything about it, right? He sees some that are like, maybe they may have broken bones or just injured, in a bad state, does not do anything about it. He sees some of the sheep straying away from the flock, going about missing, doesn't do anything about it, doesn't care. Okay, like it says, have not sought that which was lost. And this is a metaphorical representation of the condition or the state of the Israelites, and the state which their leaders were supposed to fix by bringing them to the Lord, by leading them in the correct path, ultimately by giving them this truth. Okay, because that is what's going to heal that sickness and bind up that which was broken. Because this is representing Jake, okay, Israel. Both back then and today, them being in a destroyed state, having a lack of proper direction. Okay, but those that were over them, that Israel would look to lead them in the proper way, have not done it. And as it says, but with force and with cruelty have you ruled them. And ultimately by teaching them false things, misleading them, and taking advantage of them. If you look at some of these congregations, you'll notice that mainly a lot of the times you'll see like their so-called leaders are like, I'll take like a modern day church, for example. Sometimes you look at the people in there, they may be having hard lives or, facing rough situations, but they come up in the church and they try to make themselves look decent. But when you look at the pastor, Pastor comes in there, he may have a nice Rolex on, he may drive this very nice car. Some pastors even have their own private jets. But is the state of their congregation, is everybody in there good? No, there's people that come in there with problems and leave with those same problems because they're not being directed in the right way. Verse 5, and they were scattered because there is no shepherd, and they became meat to all the beasts of the field when they were scattered. Okay, and ultimately those beasts of the field were like the predators that we became prey to, because when the sheep are scattered, they go every which way because they don't have a shepherd to gather them, right, and lead them in the right path. And that's like Israel today, today and back then, not having a righteous, ruler. It led everybody to go after their own way, doing that which they thought was right in their own sight. And ultimately it led them into idolatry, worshiping the gods of these different idols and falling prey to that. My sheep wandered through all the mountains and upon every high hill. Yea, my flock was scattered upon all the face of the earth, and none did search or seek after them. And so you had Israel wandering and delving into all sorts of different things. We read in a few chapters prior in the book of Ezekiel how when the Lord took Ezekiel through the vision to Jerusalem to see what was going on over there, he said to himself, right? The Lord told him, look to your right. He would look to his right. He would see people, women doing this, sacrificing over here. He would look to the left. You'll see the so-called leaders, in the temple, drawn with images of idols on the walls. He looked over here. He'll see some of the other leaders that are bowing down and worshiping the sun god. And, everybody's just scattered all over the place, following different ways, different idols, and basically they're in a destroyed state. Looking over here, you're seeing murders and just unrighteous dealings all throughout the place. Right? Therefore, ye shepherds, hear the word of the Lord. As I live, saith the Lord Yahweh, surely because my flock became a prey, and my flock became meat to every beast of the field. Because there was no shepherd, neither did my shepherds search for my flock, but the shepherds fed themselves and fed not my flock. So instead of considering the state of the people and making sure that they were well taken care of, and that all ultimately stems from obeying the Heavenly Father. When you read Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, the conditions, okay, that would be good or for the well-being of the people would be by them obeying the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Heavenly Father. So as a shepherd, as a ruler, as a leader, you are to direct the people into that way where they follow the ways of the Heavenly Father. And that would in turn bless them with all the blessings that were written in the book. Okay? They would be taken care of, they would be nourished, they would be fine. But when you lead them the other way, then the curses come upon them. Then they go into this destroyed state. But the thing is, a lot of these so-called shepherds are not actually shepherds. They're just really hirelings that take advantage of the flock. Therefore, verse 9, but like I said, that's why it says they fed themselves and they didn't feed the flock. You know that one of the biggest money-making schemes is religion. Okay? And that's because it's very easy, if you know how, to deceive people. And once they believe you and they get that following, they look at you as like this pseudo form of power. It's very easy to get them to do whatever it is you want them to do, no matter how ridiculous it is. So majority of people today don't become, put themselves as leaders, okay, because they actually care about the state of the people. They do it because it's going to benefit them. Whether it's for fame or pride or whatever it is that satisfies themselves, okay, not for the well-being of the people, not for the well-being of the flock. Therefore, O ye shepherds, hear the word of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I am against the shepherds, and I will require my flock at their hand. So once again, it's likened on to, imagine you are a rich man. You're a rich man. That means you have a lot of cattle, you have a lot of sheep, you have a lot of all these different things, like Abraham, right? Abraham himself was not going to be taking all these thousands of sheep that he had to graze every morning or whenever it is they have to go and eat, and then come back and then go and make sure that this is happening. No, he had servants for a reason, right? So if you're a rich man, you're not obviously going to do these things yourself. You would hire somebody, that would do this job, a shepherd. So imagine you find this shepherd and he is supposed to be doing his job, feeding the sheep, taking care of them, and so on and so forth, accounting for them. And you come back and find out some of them are sick, some of them are dead, some of them are missing. This guy got a nice new coat that's made of nice sheepskin, and they're just in a bad state. What do you think is going to happen to that shepherd? And that's what the Lord is saying here. He said, I'm against these shepherds because they're not doing their job. And I'm going to require my flock at their hand. I'm going to say, yo, what I gave you, let's just say, for example, I gave you the charge of 10 good, well taken care of sheep. Why do I only see 5 and 3 of them are sick? What's going on? What happened to the rest? The Lord is saying, I'm going to require them at your hand and cause them to cease from feeding the flock. So you're no longer going to be, that shepherd. Now, see, in the example I gave, a rich man, you could fire this guy, right? You could, die. You're done. You're good. You go do something else. The Lord is not going to fire you and just say, oh, you know what? You were in a position of influence. You were supposed to lead, my people in the right way and basically direct them towards me. Instead, you did what was beneficial for you. You misled them. You didn't give a damn. You influenced them in the wrong ways. And now they're all in this destroyed state. All right, you're relieved of your duties. You can just go about and do what you want to do. No, the Most High is going to put you to death. That's one way to cause you to cease from feeding the flock. And that's what he's going to do to all these false teachers, false leaders, false shepherds. You're going to cease from feeding the flock because you're going to be cease from the land of the living. Put it like that. Because the Lord is very, very, serious about his flock. Hence, he emphasized, Yahweh Shai emphasized to Peter 3 times, if you love me, feed my lambs. Did Yahweh Shai own some secret sheep somewhere? That he was telling Peter to take him out to graze every day? No, the lambs represented the Israelites. Okay, particularly really the elect. Anyway, it says, neither shall the shepherds feed themselves anymore, for I will deliver my flock from their mouth, that they may not be meat for them. So the Lord is ultimately going to, quote unquote, relieve you of your duties. Okay? And this is going to start with the elect, right? And that's why, now you're seeing a lot of, as the Lord sent out his true prophets to come out, the true shepherds to come out, the elect amongst these different congregations that were being taken advantage of, have been, started to leave. They start to be drawn out from those places, not to be the prey, of these false shepherds anymore. For thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, even I will both search my sheep and seek them out. And that's what the Lord is ultimately doing now. Okay, and how is he doing it? He's doing it by way of this knowledge, this word, this truth. But how is this truth really getting out? The Lord is using his true teachers, his true shepherds. Imagine once again in this analogical, metaphorical scenario that the rich man comes and holds this false shepherd accountable, dismisses him of his duties, and then sends his actual he sends a good shepherd, say, yo, go out there and try to find the the missing ones. They can't have gone too far. Okay, so the Lord is saying here that he's gonna like it says, I will both search my sheep and seek them out, as a shepherd seeketh out his flock in the day that he is among his sheep that are scattered. Right? So when they're scattered, you go and find them. So will I seek out my sheep, and will deliver them out of all places where they have been scattered in the cloudy and dark day. And ultimately, how is the Lord going to do that? First, by having his men go out and teach, right? The scriptures tell you that let's go there. My sheep hear, let's put here. Yeah, John 10 and 27. Let's see. Okay, this is John chapter 10, verse 25. Yahushua answered them, I told you, and ye believe not. The works that I do in my Father's name, they bear witness of me. But ye believe me not, because ye are not of my sheep. As I said unto you, my sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. Okay, so as the Lord is saying here, he says, where we at? Right, he's gonna gather his sheep and seek them out, which is gonna which is really the elect. Okay, that's where it starts. The whole nation, on a bigger scale, yes, but it really starts with the elect. They're the ones that are gonna hear the Lord's voice. They're the ones that are gonna be sought out first. So as a shepherd seeketh out his flock in the day that he is among his sheep that are scattered, so will I seek out my sheep, and will deliver them out of all places where they have been scattered in the cloudy and dark day. So it starts with the Lord sending out the prophets to come and teach. And by their teaching, through the internet as well, which spreads his word all abroad, it's kind of like hearing the shepherd calling out for his sheep, and they hear it, and they come, gathered, okay, in the spirit first and foremost, right? They turn away from all their different, wicked ways that they've been following, and they turn to the Lord. And then when Yahushua comes back, the physical gathering is going to take place, okay, where the elect are going to be gathered and delivered from all the different parts where they've been scattered. Okay, and there are many precepts on that. Okay, now this is the book of Ezekiel 34, verse 13. And I will bring them out from the people and gather them from the countries, and will bring them to their own land, and feed them upon the mountains of Israel by the rivers, and in all the inhabited places of the country. So once again, you can imagine the shepherd that was searching for his scattered sheep, and he finally found them, and he gathers them from wherever they were scattered and brings them all into like this nice, beautiful sheepfold that he has set up for them. Okay, and that's just the metaphorical representation of when the Lord comes to deliver his elect, from all the different, this is Revelation, the 7th chapter is a precept for this as well, right? From all the different parts of the world that they've been scattered, and ultimately brings them to where? Israel. Okay, where the kingdom is gonna be. So as it says here, and I will bring them to their own land, which is the land of Israel, and feed them upon the mountains of Israel by the rivers, and in all the inhabited places of the country. So obviously after the place gets cleaned up, the Lord is going to take, his people back there, starting with the elect, and take care of them. All right, that's what it means to feed them. It doesn't mean that he's gonna get this big bowl of rice and then spoon feed everybody. To feed them means you're going to be taken care of. You're going to be nourished. You're going to be, good. Verse 14, and I will feed them in a good pasture, and upon the high mountains of Israel shall their fold be. And the fold is like your habitation, right? If you look up a sheepfold, it's that place you keep the sheep. Yeah, see that? There's an example. So this is like their home, right? This is where they would be. The shepherd would open it, and then they would come out. He would take them to graze, and then after that, he would bring them back to the fold, right? To this right here. So the equivalent of that would be, in the sense of people, the fold would be your habitation, where you're going to dwell, right? So the Lord is saying here that he's going to, then upon the high mountains of Israel shall be their fold, because that's really our land. But because we were scattered, we haven't been there. But when the Lord comes back and gathers his elect, he's going to take us back there. And there shall they lie in a good fold, okay, and in a fat pasture. The pasture is where the sheep go to feed, and eat. In a fat pasture shall they feed upon the mountains of Israel. And this is just to emphasize the sort of like the good living, right? The blessings that are going to come upon Israel once we're delivered and taken back to our own land. And I will feed my flock and will cause them to lie down, saith the Lord, meaning to give you rest, right? You'll be taken care of, you'll be given rest, no more stress and all the hardships that we had to endure now. That's all going to be done away with. I will seek that which was lost. And that's why when you read throughout the scriptures, Israel is referred to as the lost sheep of the house of Israel, because we were scattered. So the Lord says, I will seek that which was lost and bring again that which was driven away, and will bind up that which was broken, and will strengthen that which was sick. But I will destroy the fat and the strong. I will feed them with judgment. So basically, now it basically switches gear a little, right? In the beginning, it was describing these false teachers and false leaders who were basically just taking care of themselves at the expense of the sheep as false shepherds, right? Now it likens them onto the better looking, fat and well-fed sheep versus the more, sick and not so, let's just say, malnourished sheep. So obviously the better looking ones have been getting the best of everything, while the malnourished ones have not, right? So as we're going to keep on reading, you'll start to see that analogical shift right there. But as it says here, the Lord is saying that once he delivers us, right, he's going to seek the broken, the lost, the sick. That represents Israel, starting with the elect. Let me put it like that. That represents them. And the Lord is going to do that by delivering us, giving us those new bodies, and ultimately giving us that rest. But it says here, but I will destroy the fat and the strong. I will feed them with judgment. Why? Because they were the ones that, in this time, while the rest were suffering at their expense, they were good. They were eating, right? They were enjoying themselves. So the Lord said he's going to judge them. And as for you, O my flock, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I judge between cattle and cattle, between the rams and the he-goats. And why is the Lord saying that? Because he's basically saying, I'm going to judge one by one, and I'm going to find out which ones of you are my flock, and which ones of you are the ones that were feeding yourselves at the expense of my flock. Now, one example is in the time of Egypt, the Lord just basically delivered us all as a whole, both the bad and the good. But this time, he's not going to do that. Yeah, we're all cattle. Yeah, we're all rams. Yeah, we're all he-goats. But he's going to take the elect out of the cattle, the elect out of the rams, the elect out of the goats. You're not going to be delivered just because you're an Israelite. Verse 18, seemeth it a small thing unto you to have eaten up the good pasture? But ye must tread down with your feet the residue of your pastures. So basically, when you read this, what the Lord is saying here, not only have you eaten up all the good stuff, but afterward you treaded down the remaining, the leftovers. And to have drunk of the deep waters, but ye must foul the residue with your feet. It's like let me give you an example, right? If I could find this clip, I'll try to edit it into this video. But basically, I saw this clip where you had this I don't remember exactly where it was, but you had these different dogs, right? Different kinds of dogs. They were all being taken care of in one place. And there was this one dog, which is like the big dog. And it looked like a husky, but it was probably mixed with something else. And this dog was basically like the bully, right? He eats. You can see it. I'll try to find the video. He eats, finish eating, looks at the other dog, bullies the other dog, takes the other dog's food, and then eats that too. Then when it's time to drink, they all drink from one bowl. He goes in there, pushes everybody away. He drinks. And then when he's done, he just puts his paws into the water and just splashes it all over the place and then walks away. So there's pretty much nothing left for the other dogs to come and drink. So he was basically a whole menace. Now, if you let that continue for a while and you come back there, you're going to find out that this one dog is looking good, he's well fed, but the rest are looking bad. Right? So I'm saying that to relate it to this verse where the Lord is saying, so not only did you just eat the best parts of everything, but what was remaining, you, like it says, you treaded that down with your feet. So what are the rest of the flock supposed to eat? It says, and to have drunk. So do you think this is a light matter? For you to have drunk the deep waters, you drank the good parts, and then you filed the remaining with your feet. It's just metaphorical, right? But it's saying that like you take the best parts for yourself, and at the expense of the rest of the flock. It says here, and as for my flock, they eat that which ye have trodden with your feet, and they drink that which ye have fouled with your feet. See? So the Lord is saying here, you don't give a damn. You take care of yourself. You do what's best for you at the expense of the rest. No wonder they're sick and broken, and yet you fat and good. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh unto them, behold, I, even I, will judge between the fat cattle and between the lean cattle, because ye have thrust with the side and with the shoulder. So why is the Lord going to do this? Because then he's going to find out which ones of you, okay, were the ones who ate the good pasture, who drank of the deep waters, and which ones of you were the ones who were left with the residue. And that's why when you read it, I think it's in the book of Luke, it even talks about it, right? Let's actually go to that real quick. Luke chapter 6. Should be starting around 20. Yeah, here we go. Luke chapter 6, verse. I'm just going to start down here at 24. But woe unto you that are rich, for ye have received your consolation. Woe unto you that are full. Matter of fact, let me actually go up a bit, I think. Here we go. Yeah. Luke 6 and 20. And he lifted up his eyes on his disciples and said, Blessed be ye poor, for yours is the kingdom of God. Blessed are ye that hunger now, for ye shall be filled. Blessed are ye that weep now, for ye shall laugh. Blessed are ye when men shall hate you, and when they shall separate you from their company, and shall reproach you, and cast out your name as evil for the Son of Man's sake. Rejoice ye in that day, and leap for joy. For behold, your reward is great in heaven. For in the like manner did their fathers unto the prophets. So you see that this is sort of describing like the lean, right? The lean and the broken and the sick sheep that we just read about, as it says here, woe unto you that are rich, for ye have received your consolation. Woe unto you that are full, for ye shall hunger. Woe unto you that laugh now, for ye shall mourn and weep. Woe unto you when all men shall speak well of you, for so did their fathers to the false prophets. See, so that's why the Lord is saying, I'm going to judge, you're all Israelites, but I'm going to judge between, as it says, the fat cattle and the lean cattle. And I'm going to know which ones of you are the ones that were eating the good pasture, that were taking care of yourselves, taking advantage of the rest of the flock at their expense. Okay, and then I'm gonna judge between you and the rest, which is gonna be those that have lived lavishly and comfortably and enjoyably in this world, obviously because they weren't following the ways of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, versus those that suffered, because they were following the ways of the Lord. Because ye have thrust with side and with shoulder, and pushed all the disease with your horns, till ye have scattered them abroad. So once again, imagine like if you're dealing with cattle. It doesn't have to be just sheep, but if you're dealing with cattle, imagine you have like some cows, right? And they're all maybe trying to graze in one area. And you have like these bigger cows, which are, like it says, thrust with their side and their shoulder. Anytime some of the other cows come to try and eat, they will just come there and like, hit them, use their horns to like, shove them and poke them to drive them away. Right, as it says, all the diseased with your horns. So the other cattle that are not doing so well, that are trying to come and graze, these ones will like, push them out the way, as it says, till ye have scattered them abroad. Therefore will I save my flock, and they shall no more be a prey, and I will judge between cattle and cattle. And I will set up one shepherd over them, and he shall feed them, even my servant David. He shall feed them, and he shall be their shepherd. Because ultimately David is going to be the king, under Yahweh Shai, but he's going to be the king over Israel in the kingdom, right? Now, this verse is also an indicator that also proves reincarnation, right? Because this is in the book of Ezekiel. King David is not alive. Like King David himself was dead at this time. He had passed long, long ago. Remember, it was King Saul, then King David, then King Solomon. And then after King Solomon, the kingdom split. And after the kingdom split, you had all these different kings that ruled over Israel and Judah. We're talking now about the point where the Babylonians have now come up into power and they've taken captive, Israelites and all that. Like this is years after the time of King David. So why is the Lord speaking in future tense? And I will set up one shepherd over them, and he shall feed them. How's he going to do that? He died. He's gone. At what point is he going to come back and do this? I wonder. And he shall feed them, and he shall be their shepherd. That's reincarnation. Okay? And I, the Lord Yahweh, will be their God, and my servant David a prince among them. I, the Lord Yahweh, have spoken it. And I will make with them a covenant of peace. So the Lord is saying here, when the time comes, he's going to deliver his elect. The rest are going to be destroyed. He's going to deliver his elect. He's going to, take care of them, bring them into that good pasture, that good fold, and set up a actual, true, and good shepherd over them. One that is going to lead them in the right way and take care of them, i.e. King David. Okay? Because all these other shepherds have misled the people, led them into idolatrous ways, taken advantage of them, led them into paths that have only led to their destruction and put them in a worse condition. Verse 25, and I will make with them a covenant of peace, and will cause the evil beasts to cease out of the land. Which, what did the evil beasts do? They turned us into a prey, killed, ate, took advantage of us, right? So that would be like the different, the dangers, the adversity, all the troubles that we faced. The Lord is going to cause all of that to cease. And they shall dwell safely in the wilderness and sleep in the woods. Sleeping in the woods does not mean that the Lord is going to be like, all right, go out into the wilderness and go sleep on some like grass or something. Sleeping in the woods here is just like to emphasize the safety. Like you could sleep in the woods and be safe. If you right now are a shepherd, or even back then, you take your sheep out and leave them in the woods, they're done. Okay, they're done. But the Lord is just saying that here in a metaphorical way to emphasize the safety and the rest that he's going to give to his people. And I will make them and the places round about my hill a blessing, and I will cause the shower to come down in his season. There shall be showers of blessings. So, the land is going to be fruitful. The Lord is going to bless us, as he said, with the former and the latter rain. Because keep in mind, right, the land, the geographical location of Jerusalem, the Lord actually set it up in a way where it really depends heavily on rain for those crops to grow. And when you have droughts, it can be very, very severe. That's why, famines were a very prevalent thing within that region, because you weren't directly on the coast where the Mediterranean was. Okay, so when there you really depended on the rain from the Lord to be able to survive, to grow those crops and so on and so forth. So as it says here, the Lord is going to bless us with that, right? And the tree of the field shall yield her fruit, and the earth shall yield her increase, and they shall be safe in their land, and shall know that I am the Lord Yahweh. Yeah, because you're gonna the same way the Lord is known in his judgments, he's also known in his mercy and his blessings. You're gonna know and understand that this is all the doings of the Heavenly Father, who both put us in captivity but also delivered us and has blessed us with this beautiful and joyous kingdom. When I have broken the bands of their yoke and delivered them out of the hands of those that serve themselves of them, right? So those that serve themselves of us are oppressors, right? Starting with Esau, Edom, and these other heathen nations, and even some of wicked Israelites that took advantage of other Israelites. Okay, but primarily is this Esau, Edom, and these other nations. The Lord is going to deliver us out of their hand, and we're going to know, because once we get delivered from here, we're all going to know that this was not of any one of us's power. This had to be from the divine help of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai, because he's going to deliver us exactly how he said he would. Verse 28, and they shall no more be a prey to the heathen, neither shall the beasts of the land devour them, but they shall dwell safely, and none shall make them afraid. And I will raise up for them a plant of renown, and they shall be no more consumed with hunger in the land, neither bear the shame of the heathen anymore. So meaning we're not going to want for anything anymore. We're going to have everything that we can desire. Neither are we going to bear the reproach and the shame of the heathen. The being a byword, being looked down upon. All those things are all going to be a thing of the past. Thus shall they know that I, Yahweh, their power, am with them, and that they, even the house of Israel, are my people, saith the Lord Yahweh. So we're going to know that. The whole world is going to know that. It's going to be known. And ye are my flock, the flock of my pasture, and ye, my flock, the flock of my pasture, are men, and I am your God, saith the Lord Yahweh. Meaning that this starts with the men, right? This primarily starts with the men, and then the women and children, sort of come after. But the main point here is the Lord's focus is the men. All right, that's why it says the flock of my pasture are men. So anyway, with that, I'm going to end it here. That's Ezekiel, the 34th chapter, primarily dealing with the shepherds of Israel, the wicked shepherds, the penalty, and what the Lord is going to do, and how he's going to deliver his chosen, his elect. All right, so with that, Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Recha Kodash. And until next time, Shalom.